project manager for urban development in France, and I've been asked to talk to you about this, to explain the methodology. So it's going to be lost text, but I have some eye candies for you as well. And I think that the objective of the workshop is to establish the main parameters of the development. And I think that's the interest of the client who has invited us all here. So what we have to establish, what is the theme, what is the site. We got a picture in our brief with the site parameter, what is the program, and what are the stakeholder agendas. And I think I heard this morning the preservationists who explained their agendas, and they went so far as to make a plan themselves. So I think they are very innovative, they are proactive. Which is a new situation for urban planning, that preservationists are proactive. And then the project organization. The important thing is how to realize the project. So my experience is a project for 350,000 meters square floor areas. It was delivered in 5 years' time, from scratch to operation. So it was done by one developer, who was concerned with land development. And he was public controlled, so 53% of the shares was public hands. And there were 8 private developers and 4 public developers. And all these developers were holding shares in the company of the land developer. So it's a totally integrated operation. And the essential thing is that the private partnership is organized in terms of a private company. And it means that the company owns all the land and the public authorities execute their exclusive right on the zoning of the land. I don't know how it works in Lithuania, but in Western Europe it's normal that public authorities decide completely on the zoning. And everybody can buy shares in the company. I don't think it's closed down, but it could be done at a time. So what you need to figure out is a format for cooperation. A public-private partnership has been tried many times, but the problem is always what is the common goal and who is directing it. Nobody is directing it, nobody decides what is the common goal, so nothing happens. And the French have developed something that is what they call a mixed public and private ownership, based on the law of public-private companies, and the legal structure and the tax base of private companies. And there is a board of managers. So the advantage of this is that you use existing structure and existing entity. And there is a phasing in the work, so you have to establish a program, a master plan, and a business plan. The essential thing of the business plan is that you know where the money comes from, how much you need, and when you need it. And you have to obtain public planning permission. And then create a land development corporation and capitalize the company. So the business plan is essential to capitalize the company and elaborate the master plan. And I think that's the stage we are in at the moment. In order to get this cooperative company, you have to create a land bank. And the land bank is an entity in which every owner of land gives out his land and trades it against shares. So you don't have specific landowners anymore. So from the land bank you create a land development company who is owned by the land bank. The land bank is sort of financing the development company. And the land development company establishes the plan, and the plan is the base for the planning commission, which means that there is a commitment of the public authorities as well. And when that's done, you can transform the land bank into a land development company, who is then has its own authority within their perimeter. And the property developers operate as the owners of the lots, and they obtain the lots through a tender. This is framed by the plan, and the land developer is supervised by the public authority who own controlling shares. So that's the French situation. By law, the public authorities have to own controlling shares, which means a majority. So what happens is the company establishes a project, submits the project to the local authorities for approval. The local authorities approve the business plan if you're prepared to work correctly. And then the condition is that the company is the sole bearer of all the financial risk. So the company cannot look to the public authorities, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. They have to solve everything themselves, or they go broke. So then it's clear that the condition is the company is the sole bearer of the risk. So who is directing is very clear. The project is subdivided in lots, and the lots are privately developed, and the public space is controlled by the land developer and paid for through the land sold in the lots. And the public authority becomes at the end the owner of the open spaces for almost nothing, because they have to operate it, so it will cost them money. They have to sweep the streets and control traffic lights and whatever, police the streets. And the lots are tendered and sold to private offices, to private companies for offices, hotels, retail, residents, or public developers, schools, or health care. And the company has to be solvable by law. So the people who own shares in it have the obligation to capitalize or recapitalize the company if that's necessary. And after this planning phase I described, you have a realization phase, and during the realization phase someone has to direct the process. And the land developer directs the execution phase and reports to the public authorities on the advancement of the work. So the public authorities don't lose control of the project. The company tenders and contracts the separate lots and supervises the building design, which is important so that there is a coherence of the building design. And I think that the preservationists already volunteered to be part of that. I think there are natural allies for the new development, because their interest is the preservation of the historical assets, which is a reason to go to the site. And their interest is also the preservation of the fabric of the existing city and the scale of the building blocks, which is important to make a continuation from the city from the old to the new. So you can sort of shake hands. And what is always a major issue is a car park. I saw in Kaunas that most parking happens on curb, and there is paid parking. But if you make a major development, and I saw there was something like 70,000 or 60,000 meters square of offices, which is a lot of, so if all those workers come by car, you need a lot of car park. So if you don't deal with it in the beginning, you will make a huge mess.